Welcome to the Katy Sissine Show, addressing the indoctrination of the American nation. You might be a little surprised about my background today, being that, as you know, this is a conservative show. Oh, let me move the other way here. This is the lovely logo for the United Nations. It's beautiful, isn't it? Very picturesque. So we have this background today because I would like to talk about my experience in the Model United Nations at Kennesaw State University. In order to fulfill my curiosity and practice my political science studies, I decided to join the most liberal organization that anyone in the world could possibly join, in my opinion, the United Nations. Well, the Model United Nations, because that's what we would call it in high school and college. It's basically where we hold mock debates as if we are in the United Nations. We discuss political issues and we meet on a weekly basis and we participate in conferences. Here is a photo of our international conference in Oslo. You'll see me there looking up at one of my colleagues, and everyone there in that room was from France and England. They were all from socialized countries aside from myself and two other students from my group. We were in the International Court of Justice. So that was a great experience. The International Court of Justice, you get to voice your own individual opinion, which is why I decided to be part of that group instead of representing a country and having to speak for that state. So I became a member of the Model United Nations. It's a student-run, faculty-supervised liberal organization that participates in political discussion and the mock debates. During the 2 semesters that I was in the Model United Nations, I participated in 2 conferences, one regional conference, the Southern Regional Model United Nations Conference held in Atlanta, and also the OSIMUN Conference, the Oslo International Model United Nations Conference held in Oslo, Norway. And that was this past February, about 10 months ago. And that was the picture that we just saw when I was in the International Court of Justice as Judge Sissine representing Italy. So it's very interesting to me, looking back on it now, that the school funds these organizations and they all happen to be liberal organizations. The school fees that are attached to our tuition every year, which do increase every semester, mostly for sports, but for student organizations as well, provide for the funds of official student organizations. And this, of course, includes the Model United Nations. The school provided for our hotel stays, some food costs, all transportation. I had a free flight to Norway and a free stay in a 4-star hotel. And a 4-star hotel in Norway is easily a 5-star hotel here in the US. They spent a lot of money for us to go there and represent the university as a liberal organization. So, they ensured that none of the participants would be held back by finances, and they invest a significant portion of our school fees to the student government organizations. The Model United Nations is only one of many liberal organizations that our universities worldwide provide for. It's not only Kennesaw State University that pays for their students to go abroad, it's also other universities all around the US that provide the hotel stays and the transportation for their students to go abroad and represent them through liberal organizations in hopes that they may one day be a member of the United Nations, among many other groups that are similar. For a college student, obviously it's very enticing to be able to take a trip around the world for free. I can't lie, that had me pretty intrigued. I was actually approached by the president of the Model United Nations that year to join in the gym when he heard my colleague and I talking about one of our political science classes together. He approached both of us and asked us if we'd be interested in joining, and there was a chance that we could get to go on an international trip that the school paid for. And I thought, since I was already with the radio, so I was already doing that, but I thought, as far as I know, everyone around me is a liberal, so maybe I'm a liberal, so yeah, let's see what I can do. Let's give it a go, and let's see what this whole United Nations thing is all about, because I had studied it, but being a part of it, of course, was going to give me a whole different perspective, a first-hand perspective, and I was all about it, especially after the free trip offer. I mean, it's kind of hard to refuse. As a member of the Model United Nations, I chose a UN committee and a country to represent within the committee each session that we held on a weekly basis. And we represented that nation state or that member state of the United Nations and its values. We didn't speak for ourselves. I didn't speak for myself as Katy Sissine. I spoke for Fiji or Spain or Germany or the Russian Federation or whoever I chose in that particular weekly meeting. And it was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot about current events. But I noticed that it was highly looked down upon to express conservative viewpoints in the Model United Nations, even in our practice mock debates that we held on a weekly basis. It was kind of a common consensus that you weren't conservative. And if you were laughed at publicly, and you immediately flipped the switch because who wants to deal with that? So you kind of just put on the act. So there are some exclusions aside from representing a country, like as I did in Oslo, I represented myself as Judge Sissine for Italy in the International Court of Justice, the judicial entity of the United Nations, who determines the verdicts on certain cases in the International Court of Justice with when people commit acts against humanity and acts that violate human rights. So they're the ones that get the final say-so in that. At first I thought it was that joining the UN and being a member of the actual UN was a reasonable plan to solve world issues, because various delegates from various different member states that are members of the UN, we call them member states, come together and try to come to a compromise about human rights and human rights violations and ways to help develop third world countries. We don't call them third world countries anymore, but developing countries. And they come together as a group collectively to solve world problems. But over time, like I became skeptical of being a conservative as a child and as a teenager, I started to become conservative of being a liberal by being immersed in the Model United Nations, because I realized that the resolutions created by various delegates of different nationalities neglect to consider culture sufficiently and at times entirely. The United Nations and its charter, which we will go over in episodes to come, it has its own definition for peace, and it defines what peace is, it defines what human rights are and what violations of human rights are, which means that the nation state does not decide for itself its rights and its wrongs. So, in other words, the United Nations is a system of global governance that determines what is good and what is bad. The problem with that is that good and evil, good and bad, are relative terms that mean different things to different nation states. So how are we supposed to come together as one unit from all different cultures and hold the same consensus on what's a violation of a human right, on what is right and what is wrong, when we all come from different cultures and different backgrounds with respective beliefs? It doesn't make any sense when you think about it. So let's bring things up to current events here. Let's talk about the recent resolution that the U.S. allowed to pass against the best interest of Israel. Here, we've changed our background photo to a photo of Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel and President-elect Donald Trump. And they seem to be getting along quite well so far, which is great news to me as a Trump supporter. We are going to make America great again. And let's check out this video of John Kerry and what he had to say on why the U.S. abstained from the UN resolution on Israel.
Regrettably, some seem to believe that the U.S. friendship means the U.S. must accept any policy, regardless of our own interests, our own positions, our own words, our own principles, even after urging again and again that the policy must change. Friends need to tell each other the hard truths, and friendships require mutual respect. Israel's permanent representative to the United Nations, who does not support a two-state solution, said after the vote last week, quote, "It was to be expected that Israel's greatest ally would act in accordance with the values that we share and veto this resolution. I am compelled to respond today that the United States did in fact vote in accordance with our values, just as previous U.S. administrations have done at the Security Council before us. They fail to recognize that this friend, the United States of America, that has done more to support Israel than any other country, this friend that has blocked countless efforts to delegitimize Israel, cannot be true to our own values or even the stated democratic values of Israel. And we cannot properly defend and protect Israel if we allow a viable two-state solution to be destroyed before our own eyes."
Can you believe this guy? Let's just be happy that he hasn't gotten into another bicycle accident and he's still got the use of his two legs, because God forbid if another one happens again, his next speech might be made in a wheelchair. But I hope not for you, John Kerry, I really do. And this was, of course, in reference to Resolution 2334, one of many resolutions that calls out Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, the supposed friend of the United States, given much foreign aid by the United States, and him stating why they're in violation. Please stay tuned.
Looking for in a vehicle, start your search at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. We've simplified the process so you can move on to what matters, your family.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine.
El Rey.
El Rey and Ellijay.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did
It's
you...
not important, Jan. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. And later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian. Or listen to jazz. Or try my hand at needlework. Or open a door for a beautiful woman. Or read a human interest story or make dessert wine. Or ride a wild horse. Or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the hut.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
If you've been waiting for the biggest sale of the season, this is it. 20% off MSRP, plus huge bonus discounts at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Now get a Silverado Crew LT from just $29,900 or a loaded new Malibu LT from just $19,900. Every 2016 Chevy up to 20% off MSRP, plus Days holiday bonus discounts. Find new roads at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Merry Christmas.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow, and then I can finally get back home. Round. Round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza, proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Katy Sissine. We had just watched a video clip of John Kerry explaining why the U.S. decided to abstain from the vote condemning Israeli settlements, Resolution 2334 in the Security Council. He referred to Israel as a friend in many points throughout the speech, in spite of what Netanyahu said in defense, that friends don't take friends to the Security Council. So I'd just like to point that out in the video. John Kerry appeared to be very amicable with Israel throughout his speech, and that their decision to abstain from instead of vetoing the resolution was actually a friendly move, but in reality, and in the words of Netanyahu, it was the exact opposite. The U.S. did not veto the resolution when they should have. The Obama administration may have even orchestrated the resolution 2334, and Netanyahu and the speaker for Netanyahu, I believe his name is David Keys. I believe that's his speaker, but don't quote me on that. He even said that they have ironclad evidence that the Obama administration has orchestrated this resolution and pushed it forth in the Security Council. Kerry claimed that that Israel is hindering progress toward the two-state solution, and that's why they did not veto the resolution. Netanyahu regards the resolution as absurd because they've been attacked by Palestine for centuries, and they have rights to the Holy Land that are continually denied to by the terrorists in Palestine. Palestinians are even celebrating the U.S. abstention of the resolution, as Obama had previously vetoed this same exact resolution in 2011. It's very strange that now he wants to stir up conflict. Well, I guess it's not very strange, it's predictable that now he wants to go ahead and decide to let the resolution pass right before we get President Trump in office, or President-elect Trump in office. So Netanyahu had a few words to say in response to Kerry's speech. He stated, I've got some direct quotes that I'd like to share with y'all today. He said that Kerry paid lip service to the unremitting campaign of terrorism that has been waged by the Palestinians against the Jewish state for nearly a century. He basically defended the Palestinians by condemning Israel building settlements further east into Jerusalem, which is a holy city that Israel has every right to historically. And Netanyahu also said in reference to Kerry that he spent most of his speech, like I said, blaming Israel for the lack of peace due to the establishment of settlements. He said that this was physical evidence that Israel was not working toward a two-state solution. They were hindering progress toward a two-state solution by building settlements on Palestinian territory, which actually is rightfully Israeli territory. And Netanyahu also said, one of my last quotes by him, by passionately condemning a policy of enabling Jews to live in their historic homeland and their eternal capital, Jerusalem. He said that, pretty much insinuating that he insulted Israel. He was no friend to Israel. He said in his speech that this was a decision that he made out of love, he didn't say out of love, but because he cares for the nation of Israel, when in reality, he's calling Israel out. He is making them the butt of every joke in the international community. And the realities of Israelis due to these mistaken policies that have allowed for terrorism upon the Israelis by the Palestinians for years and years have resulted in hundreds of suicide bombings, rocket launchings, and millions of Israelis living in bomb shelters. It's a reality, and it's very sad. And it's nothing to pick on Israel about. And the fact that he would try to call out Israel is terrible. Finally, Netanyahu says that I seek the security and peace and prosperity in the future of the Jewish state. And a big part of that is securing their sacred holy land, Jerusalem, as their capital. So there's a Twitter post that Trump made directly to Netanyahu after Kerry's speech. We've got, you could see right over here. He said, President-elect Trump, thank you for your warm friendship and your clear-cut support for Israel. In response to Donald Trump saying that things will be much more different when he gets in the White House, and he told Israel to hang tight, and meaning that we're going to stop picking on you. The UN's going to stop picking on you because you're the only democracy in the Middle East. It doesn't make any sense that the hegemon of the global community of the world that stands for democracy is picking on the only democracy in the Middle East. We're all sick of it, and thankfully, we've got a president-elect who's not afraid to say it out loud. And if he's got to say it over Twitter instead of going through the media, then so be it, because that's what he has to do at this point. That's what it's come to. Because if he says it through the media, who knows what we're going to hear as the people? So he's going straight to us, the people, which is something that Kerry and Obama have proven themselves incapable of doing. And Netanyahu appreciates that. And this is great news. Things are already looking up for us. So, Resolution 2334, the two-state solution, U.S. Ambassador Samantha Power defended President Obama. She came out with a statement the day of the resolution on December 23rd. She's a permanent U.S. representative of the UN, Samantha Power. I've got some very interesting direct quotes by Samantha Power defending Obama's or the U.S.'s decision to abstain and not veto the resolution. And they kind of leave you a little bit dumbfounded. They aren't really plausible defenses. She said the United States has not taken the step of voting in support of this resolution because the resolution is too narrowly focused on settlements. Well, that sounds like a reason to veto the resolution. It doesn't, see, just reading that alone, it confuses me. And if I can't understand your defense in a nutshell in one sentence, then maybe it's not a plausible defense. Because the resolution is too narrowly focused on settlements? Sounds like a reason to veto the resolution. She also said, our vote today does not in any way diminish the United States' steadfast and unparalleled commitment to the security of Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East. Well, thank you for acknowledging that they're the only democracy in the Middle East. You just made a great point. Why are we calling them out in the Security Council if they're the only democracy in the Middle East? When we're trying to spread democracy, apparently, throughout the whole world. We're trying to, with the United Nations, we're trying to, in efforts for the democratic peace theory, we want to make every country a democracy, right? So why do we keep picking on the only democracy in the Middle East? Shouldn't we be doing everything to uphold them, to support them? And her defense for that, Samantha Powers did point out that in September, and I quote, the Obama administration signed a memorandum of understanding to provide $38 billion in security assistance to Israel over the next 10 years, the largest single pledge of military assistance in U.S. history to any country. And Netanyahu did publicly acknowledge this and state that it was a great help, et cetera, but that doesn't change the cold hard facts of what's going on in the media and what we're being shown. We're being shown that Israel's hindering progress toward the two-state solution, when that is in fact not the case. The Obama administration and the UN publicly condemns them, and that's just inappropriate, and it's been going on for at least half a century. It's been going on for far too long in the Security Council, with several resolutions passed against the interest of Israel and essentially defending terrorism and empowering terrorists. We had Palestine celebrating over the U.S.'s neglect to veto this resolution, as we did in 2011. And she also said, and I quote, Samantha Power also said, we believe, though, that continued settlement building seriously undermines Israel's security. As I stated before, that was their reason for allowing this resolution to pass. And this is straight from UN.org. That was from Samantha Power's quote was from US.UN.state.gov. So we're going to continue next with some information straight from UN.org about the resolution and what the official UN website had to say. So stay tuned in. Remember, this is the Katy Sissine Show addressing the indoctrination of the nation. You can follow me on Twitter at Katy, FYNTV, and email me, please, with comments, suggestions, and things you'd like to hear talked about on the show and investigated at katy@fetchyournews.com. And also our YouTube channel, Fetch Your News. Check out our videos there at any time at your convenience.